psychedelic Sunday? Why not? There's a band from the late 60s that never really achieved household name status, but hung out with Jimi Hendrix and opened for some killer groups like The Byrds, Canned Heat, and Grateful Dead. What made them different from some of the other groups is they were early to record and tour with synthesizers and a theremin, which they had named Lothar. The band was Lothar and the Hand People. Random side note, the name Lothar is of Germanic origin that translates to the famous warrior. The band moved from Colorado to New York, and it's in New York where they're probably remembered the most, and that's because after midnight, there was a few radio stations that would play their song Space Hymn, a 10-minute trippy jam with spoken word. Yeah. SNL did a skit from 89 to 90 called Lothar and the Hill People, which featured Mike Myers, and it's hard to say it wasn't inspired by the late-night radio jams from the Hand People. Lothar and the Hand People were the first band to use a Moog synthesizer live. Others had used them for recording, but on April 28, 1968, they performed on a Moog modular at the Generation Club in New York. They had a pre-existing relationship with Bob Moog because they had been performing with the Moog theremin, Lothar, since their earliest gigs in the fall of 1965. John Emmelin of the band said in an interview, "I was fascinated with strange sounds as a kid and never got over it. I had heard the theremin in movie soundtracks like Spellbound and Electric Sounds and Forbidden Planet. I think it was during college I ordered one from Bob Moog, so I had it when the band formed. Remember, the longest journey starts with a single oscillator." They got signed to Capitol Records when the president went to the Night Owl Cafe in Greenwich Village to hear them play as an audition, and his approval secured them a contract. They recorded their debut album, Presenting, with producer Robert Margouleff, who owned his own studio that had a 4-track. Robert had connected with the band through their first sponsor from the Moog Company, and Lothar and the Hand People were one of his first albums to produce. Robert had done the soundtrack for the original Star Trek pilot from 1966, only 2 years prior. After Lothar's debut, he went on to produce albums for several big artists like Devo, Oingo Boingo, and Stevie Wonder. The band released their debut in 1968, a follow-up album called Space Hymn in 69, and by fall of that year, with record sales starting to slip, each member found a different path in music. Their guitarist, Kim King, went to work as a second engineer for Hendrix, and drummer Tom Fly worked for the studio record plant and got his first gold record mixing Don McLean's American Pie. Thanks for watching and following.